Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today we'll be tracking the possibility for a significant severe weather outbreak that may happen across portions of the South, including places like northeastern Louisiana, eastern Arkansas, central and northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, central and western Tennessee, up into central and western Kentucky. Some of these areas could be experiencing for the chance for some damaging winds, possibility for some large hail for some areas and also for the chance for a few tornadoes, which some of those could be strong. So let's go to get started with the SPC outlook for tonight here. We actually do have an enhanced risk for severe weather across portions of Texas here, which includes places like Dallas, Waco, Texas there. And the primary threat's going to be the hail. And some places could see very large hail some places, which we did had a thunderstorm earlier that had on a radar signature of 80 decibels. And that's an indication there is some very large hail with that storm, which I've never seen in decibels that high of the number. 80, that's something I've never seen before. Damaging winds will also be there, and there could also be a tornado threat within some of those storms as well. So let's take a look to radar here. We actually do have a tornado warning during this video here. Has some thunderstorms east of Dallas. We got one tornado warning for Grand Cell Line here. Some rotation with that storm, but it's also producing some pretty large hail with that as well. I mean, 67 decibels with this storm here. Actually, 71. Some pretty large hail with that storm. And we do have a severe thunderstorm warning back across Hamilton, Texas. There is some rotation with this storm right here, heading right towards Cranfield's Gap here. So that may get tornado warned soon. So we do have a couple supercells out there right now. And so far it's been large hail reports. I haven't heard any tornadoes so far out in Texas today. That may change later tonight, but we'll see what happens with some of these storms here. But what I've been hearing though is some pretty large hail with some of those storms. So that's what's been going on out in Texas this evening. We'll probably see a couple more storms develop across Texas there. That may produce all hazards. So we'll be probably watching that throughout the night here. But the big day is tomorrow. And we do have a moderate risk for severe weather across central and northern Mississippi, central and northern Alabama, central and western Tennessee, and also for the far northwest quarter of Georgia as well. For these areas that are currently in a moderate risk. The primary threat is going to be the tornado threat, which some of those could be strong as well. Damaging winds will also be there. There could be some significant winds of over 75 miles an hour. There also could be some large hail, at least 2 inches diameter size hail. So this is over quite a large area. In the tornado threat, in the significant territory, nearly 12 million people are in that chance for a strong tornado. And that's a lot of people. And there may be a chance that area may get larger. And we're maybe talking about an expansion of that towards the northeast. Just looking to some of the latest trends with the models, which that's what I'm going to show you guys that right now. So let's take a look at the HER, the 18Z run. So as we kind of get into Thursday morning here, we'll have a wave of thunderstorms going on across Tennessee, northern Mississippi, Alabama, eventually getting into the lower Ohio Valley here. And this is going to be with that warm front here, moving to the northeast here, eventually getting a little bit more to the Ohio Valley. Now, my biggest concern here is as we kind of get into the early afternoon. Check out this here. Look at this zone here. Not much of any shower or thunderstorm activity across these regions here, which is not good news. That's just going to make the air more unstable, which we'll try to get a sounding here and see what it looks like here. Because some of these areas will be experiencing a mid-level cap, which the Herbal says there's not really a mid-level cap here. But wait until we get later in the day. The photograph is not that impressive, but we already got Cape numbers 2800 at the surface. And that's just only in the morning. So imagine what it's going to be like in the afternoon. So this is now getting into pretty much the afternoon hours. And as you can see here, I mean, check out this dry slot here. I mean, that's a very large dry slot here. Some of these areas will be experiencing a mid-level cap here, which you can see here, like I was talking about here. Right there. It's where we have the mid-level cap here. And the atmosphere will get better over time here throughout the day. When we get to the evening hours, that's when things start to get pretty bad here. And you can see here, Thursday 20Z here. Check out all these storms here going on across central and western Tennessee, the northern half of Mississippi, and the northern half of Alabama. Now, I will say this, the Herb model can be overdone with some of the convection here. That's what it was actually doing last time. It was overdoing the convection just a little bit. So I don't think we're going to see this many storms, but I guarantee there will still be some storms out there. But I don't think it's going to be this much thunderstorm activity for what the Herb model is showing here. And as we kind of continue on throughout the late afternoon to the early evening hours, you can see here, here comes your cold front right here. That's going to be storms to watch here. And look, check out all these supercells going on across, really along the Alabama-Mississippi border, even to northern Alabama. And you even got a few significant storms getting up into southern Kentucky there as well. And you can see some of these storms here could be supercellular. And here's the cold front here. Now, this is where I kind of disagree here with some of the models here. I think this is going to be a little bit more of a organized squall line of storms here along that cold front. Now, it could be a broken line, but I think there's going to be some more thunderstorm activity along that cold front here, especially where so many areas up here are not been worked up all that much. Now, I tell you this, there's a couple other models that show a different solution here. And this is again, the Herb model here. And again, talked about for some ongoing supercells out ahead of that cold front, which can raise the chances for some strong tornadoes, large hail, and also for some damaging winds as well. While that loads here for the significant tornado parameters, let's move on to the NAM. And you can see here again with a wave of showers and thunderstorms kind of going through the Tennessee Valley and the Ohio Valley in the morning. And then you get this pretty large dry slot here. I mean, check this out here. I mean, look at this dry slot here. Now, I think it's underdoing the convection. I don't think the models are going to be handling the convection that well, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to handle that well. I think we could see some more thunderstorm activity with some of these areas in here, which will get us sounding here. You know, where we have no thunderstorms, I mean, there's no cap in this area here. So there's not really a reason why thunderstorms cannot be developing. I mean, we do have a little bit of an elevated mix layer, but we do have some good lap rates. That's actually a big improvement since the last video. Last video, we've been talking about winning the limiting factors could be the lap rates. Well, not that anymore. Check out that. At least a 7 is what you need for some severe weather territory. And look what we have, a 7.2, 7.7, a 7, and a 7.8. So, lap race is not really a limiting factor, unfortunately. And I don't really see a whole lot of anything limiting factors other than the possibility for some widespread showers and storms. We may have to take that by observation tomorrow morning, see how these storms here, this is getting annoying. We'll just have to see how these cluster storms will go and see if there's going to be more activity behind that. So we'll be watching that. And I think that's a little too slow here. That's 18Z, so that's in the afternoon hours here. So the NAM seems to be a little bit slower with this here. So, but again, something to watch here. So now this is getting to the peak time heating time frame. You got a couple supercells out here. Here comes your squall line of storms here, which have been moving very quickly to the northeast there. Which the primary threats with those storms there will be damaging winds and also for the chance for some hail. With those lap rates, above a 7, especially in the mid levels, that could support a large hail threat. And also with the helicity values, we can see quite a bit of updraft velocity. So it's not going to take a whole lot of anything for a storm to produce a tornado. We'll just put it that way. It's not going to take a whole lot for a storm to produce a tornado. We'll just put it out there. So this is something you watch for. So pretty much places like Mississippi, Alabama, portions of Louisiana. Things like Louisiana for those guys has been really kind of been on a downtrend for them. Eastern Arkansas, Western Central Tennessee, Central Western Kentucky. These areas in here has just really been going up. It's been an uptrend with the severe weather potential over the last couple of days, and it seems like it's still going up today. So basically, your severe weather threat's really expanding a little bit further north here, getting a little bit more into the lower Ohio Valley region, which is going to be another area to watch as well. So let that load there. And let's move on to the Harris Nama. And again, I don't think it's going to have a good handle either. But you can see here, you get a round of showers of thunderstorms, probably in the morning to maybe early afternoon hours. Then that moves out and may check out this dry slot again with this very large dry slot here. And that's my biggest concern here. All it's basically, you got a mid-level cap here. And what a mid-level cap is basically it's preventing showers of thunderstorms developing. Now, it may sound like a good thing, but in reality, it's actually not. Let me tell you why. All it's really doing is making the air more unstable, bringing up those dew points, and also bringing up those mid-level lap rates. So basically, the chances for severe weather in these regions here is just basically going up here. Pretty much in these regions here. And this has been a trend with the models here. It's showing less thunderstorm activity in the afternoon, mid to late afternoon hours, which is around peak time heating. So temperatures in these areas could be quite warm too. So that's something we need to keep an eye on here. And here's the Harris Nav. Now, I disagree with this solution here. I mean, I do agree with the squall line back here along the cold front, but I mean, the storm's out ahead of it. I think there's going to be a little bit more storm activity. It only shows like only a couple supercells, and that's it. If we get a sounding in southwestern, well, not southwestern, but northwestern Tennessee, it's actually got a mid-level cap there. That's something we need to keep an eye on there as well. So it actually's got a mid-level cap there. Let me go somewhere else here. Let's go into northern Mississippi. Yeah, see, it's got no thunderstorms in the area, and you got no cap here. There's not really a reason to have no thunderstorms with an environment like this. So again, the models are probably gonna have trouble with the simulation of these storms here with this event. So something we need to watch for here. Also, I don't think this is very realistic either. How this squall line dies out and a new one forms out ahead of it. I don't think that's going to happen either. But, it's just something to watch here. You can see how that kind of progresses to the east, eventually get into the Appalachian Mountains there as well. So I looked at a rapid refresh. This is a fresh new run here. And as you can see here, it's almost like the herd here, but with more thunderstorm activity here. So you kind of have 50-50 with the models. You got some models that don't show much of any thunderstorm activity, and you got others that show a lot. So there's some uncertainties here. So we kind of have to take this by observation, unless the balls get a better agreement tonight, which hopefully they will, or sometime 6C tomorrow morning. They check out all those thunderstorms going on here. And some of these do have a chance to become supercells as well. And here comes your cold front here, which this ball also indicates a dry slot here in these zones here. But it's also kind of getting to the overnight hours, so it doesn't really matter all that much there. But a dry slot's there. So again, so we still have some questions of what type of storm mode some of these storms could be and how widespread it could be. So there's some limiting factors here. Well, not limiting factors. There may be a chance for it, but there's just some uncertainties with the models here. Alright, let's take a look to the significant tornado parameters. So, let's check this out here. So, like I said on the last video here, Over a 1, you got a tornado threat. Over a 2, that's a chance for a significant tornado. And you can see here the numbers are high. I'll just give you that. And I believe the numbers are higher than what I showed on the last video yesterday. Check out those high numbers across Mississippi and Michigan to Alabama here. And yeah, just look at that. I mean, those are some very high numbers. This is going to be a little bit cherry picked here. I wish I had box soundings here, just over a widespread area. That'll probably give a little bit more accurate prediction. You can see here, you got tons of store relative helicity. Yeah, those numbers will be off the charts when you get up to Kentucky later on in the day. Tons of wind shear. I mean, there's just not that many limiting factors. I mean, the lap rates are a little bit lower, but other than that, I mean, it's still a pretty good environment regardless. And you can see here the numbers have gone up across Kentucky, southern Indiana, eventually southern parts of southern Illinois as well. Numbers that go up for significant tornado parameters. We'll get one up into Kentucky here. You can see here it's a pretty good, still pretty good sounding. Storm relative helicity numbers are higher, and those lap rates will be going down throughout the night. That's pretty normal for that to happen. But this is something we gotta watch for. We'll get one more sounding in southern Alabama. But again, this is something we really need to watch for. Yeah, these curves on the photographs are pretty large. Yeah, this is another good sounding here. Yeah, seems like the numbers are all over the place with the lap rates as well. 5.4, 7.7, 6.8, 7.9. So the lap rates are a little bit all over the place, but it's still favorable for severe weather as well. Which one do I want next? Well, okay, we'll do surface space cape next. So let's take a look to the NAM here with the significant tornado parameters. Yeah, check this out here. You got pretty decently high numbers across southern Mississippi here. Central Mississippi, I should say. Yeah, check out this sounding here. I made 2400 cape at the surface. Pretty good amount of lap rates going on, exception for the surface. I mean, 5.8, that's pretty low. But the numbers, a little bit into the atmosphere, it's pretty favorable. Critical angle number, it's a little bit, well, it's still favorable. A 51 is still favorable. So basically, everything's there. And you're basically going to see some of the most very similar soundings for a large area. I mean, every sounding I'm going to show you, it's probably going to say a PDS tornado or whatever. Now, I want to show you guys something crazy here now. I don't think this is going to happen, but this is the most ridiculous sounding I've ever seen here. And this is in Severn, Kentucky. Right, check this out. You got a extremely large curve on the photograph here. Yeah, you still got 1100K. I mean, the lap rates are not that great, but check out the storm relative helicity. Over 1,000. That's extremely high. You got quite a bit of wind shear to work with. This is a pretty good sounding here. You also do have some wind direction and height. That's a pretty favorable sounding for a potential for a strong tornado. We'll go a little further south. We'll go down to central Alabama. You can see here the curve is much smaller, but still a favorable sounding either way. Yeah, basically every sounding you're going to see within these red colors, purple colors, it's all going to show a favorable sounding for severe weather of all hazard types. We'll just put it that way. So let's check out the man. I forgot to set this up here. Okay, I guess we'll skip that for now. Let's take a look at the rapid refresh with significant tornado parameters, and you can see here. It's kind of a little off the screen here, but check out those numbers there. 9.7 southwestern Tennessee. Yeah, pretty good sounding here. Everything's basically good to go. I mean, seriously. So basically, again, every sounding I'm going to show you guys here is going to be pretty supportive for um, for pretty much all hazards, including for the chance for a strong tornado. That's a little bit interesting for South Central Indiana there. Probably a little bit over the top there. It's furthest north than what the other models are showing. Man, that curve is way up there. Jeez. This is still a good sounding here. Still another good sounding. So, yeah, on that. And we'll go back to the high-res NAM here. Take a look to its significatory parameters. You can see here, pretty high numbers. The numbers have definitely gone up across southwestern Kentucky and southern Indiana since the last video. That's pretty much been a trend here so far. It's the severe weather threat has just been pretty much moving to the north, and it kind of expanding at the same time as well. Get another quick sounding. Western Tennessee, that's actually a pretty strong elevated mix layer here. Still a decent sounding, nevertheless, there. But you can see those significatory parameters. Now, I'll say these significatory parameters are going to be overdone, but even though if we cut these down a little bit, it's still going to be supported for severe weather. So it doesn't really matter either way at that point. So yeah, on that. So we'll set that up for there. So let's check out the surface-based cape here. So this kind of gives us how much stability there could be, at least surfacely based here. You can see here, pretty high numbers. I mean, that's at least 3,000 joules per kilogram of cape at the surface. For pretty much for northeast central Mississippi, and also kind of going along that Mississippi-Alabama border as well. Talk about a chance for at least 3,000 joules per kilogram of cape is pretty high for this time of year. And you can see how it pretty much goes away at that point. But keep in mind, at this time of year, you really only need over 1,000, which is kind of these blue colors here, which will be favorable for severe weather. You can see here as you kind of get into the overnight hours, those cape numbers will still be there. So yeah, on that, and we'll look at 850 millibar winds next. And we'll check out the NAM as well. You can see our basically showing a similar thing. It's actually a little further back to the west. It's even got even higher numbers. Actually getting close to 3,500 joules per kilogram of cape. That, again, a lot for this time of year, and that moves up to western Tennessee. And here's a high-res NAM with this. You can see here, pretty similar here. Again, it's pretty similar to the HER model at least, with chance for 3,000 joules per kilogram of cape. And, pretty high for this time of year. And would take a look at rapid refresh. Does not really get to that significant point, but it still shows quite a bit of cape. I mean, at least 2,000 cape is still pretty sufficient for severe weather. So the cape is there, pretty much. Let me set these up here for 850 millibars real quick. Almost forgot to do that. So let's check out the HER model with the 850 millibar winds, which this is what we call the low-level jet. And you can see here, talking about a strong low-level jet, you really only need at least 50 knots for a good low-level jet. You're talking about low-level jet numbers as high as 70, 75 knots in some places. And it's at its strongest point is when it gets up to Kentucky here. That's where some of the strongest of the low-level jet's going to be, is when you get up to Kentucky and even to portions of Indiana, Ohio, and Tennessee as well. Don't want to forget about those states as well. That could see a pretty strong low-level jet. And that's really going to enhance your damage wind and also your tornado potential as well. Check out the NAM. Wow. That's actually pretty impressive there. That's at least 80 knots. Jeez, man. That is a very strong low jet. Now, not only it increases the severe weather threat, but also even without thunderstorms, stronger the low level jet, the stronger the winds at the surface it could be. So 80 knot winds at 850 millibars could possibly equivalent to maybe 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts at the surface without thunderstorms. So that's going to be another problem as well. So you're going to see high winds throughout the day across a large region, which we do have high wind watches in effect for portions of Ohio and Indiana here, where there could be wind gusts over 65 miles an hour in some places. So the winds will be pretty strong across the Ohio Valley here when the low gets at its strongest point as well. We'll check out the high-res NAM here, see what it says here. And you can see here with a pretty impressive load of a jet here. I mean, it's got numbers up to 80 knots as well in some places. So you still got a strong low of a jet there in some places. And then checking out the rapid refresh, yeah, close to 80 knot wind. So that's probably the difference between the last event, which was back on last Wednesday, and this event is basically the load of a jet, really. I mean, the load of a jet last time was weaker, and this time it's going to be much stronger than the last event. And with a strong load of a jet, you're going to have, it's going to enhance your severe weather potential as well. So definitely need to watch for that low of a jet because that's really going to be one of the biggest factors into this severe weather setup. So let's take a look into the short range ensemble forecast. And comparing to what we saw in the last video, some of your highest numbers are now getting up to as far north as southern Kentucky now at this point here. And like I said a couple times on the last video and this video, it's been moving to the north, or at least trending to the north, and kind of expanding at the same time. So kind of going back to SPC forecast, do not be surprised that this enhanced risk and maybe the moderate risk, we'll see about the moderate risk, I'm not sure about that yet, but don't be surprised that it does get expanded to a little bit more into Kentucky and possibly into southern Indiana for an enhanced risk expansion. Not completely sure about a moderate risk yet, but I guarantee you that high risk will get issued somewhere in this zone here, somewhere in northern Mississippi, northwestern Alabama, and probably into southern Tennessee, south central Tennessee as well. There's a good chance those areas could see a high risk upgrade. No doubt about that. And just by looking to the latest models, this risk area here, it's likely to be expanding to the north. You got numbers as high as at 8, which is some pretty high numbers for a significant tornado parameter. So basically, kind of overlooking the severe weather ingredients list. I mean, you're not going to see this happen often. Every single category is at the really good stage, which is not good. Keep in mind of that. 850 millibars, it's really good for severe weather. It's pretty supportive. 500 millibar wind, same thing. Dew point, same thing. Bulk shear, storm wave felicity, the hodographs, the cape, and the lap rates. All at the max level of what I can give. So that's not good. And checking out the range here at the bulk shear, 70 to 100 knots. That's very high storm wave felicity. May I actually have to bump that up to 1100. Actually, uh, the hodographs, you got pretty large curves out there. Cape is going to be pretty good, 1200 to 3100 cape. Lap rates has been improving, 7.3 to 8. And we also have dew points in low 70s. And you don't see low 70s that often in March. You just don't see low 70s that often. It doesn't happen that often. And I'm pretty sure up here in Kentucky, it's pretty rare to see low 70 dew points. We won't get to that point, but we'll see possibly mid 60 dew points up here in Kentucky. So, but low 70s dew points, that's a pretty high dew point number when you think about it. That's something you see in the summertime, pretty much. So yeah, on that. And here's my forecast here. Now, the reason why I do not have a high risk upgrade yet, which I do plan on to have it tonight, is because I just want to see what the 0Z model run show, especially when we do not have a good agreement with the type of storm mode there could be. I think it's going to be a mix of both. We can have a squall line along that cold front. You can also have at the same time supercells out ahead of the front, especially in northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and central western Tennessee. In areas in the red here, in the moderate risk, that's where you have a decent chance. I mean, in SPC terms, that'd be a 15% hatched area. That's something I forgot to put in there is the percentages in some of these areas in here. So 15% hatched, which means the chance for significant tornadoes. Basically, that's what that means. Damage to winds will also be there, so that'll be a 30% hatched area. We may need an upgrade to 45%. I'm not sure about that yet. I'm also trying to get agreement with a squall line yet, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a squall line somewhere. In the enhanced risk, the risk is a little bit lower. Probably a 30% hatch at the northern end for wind. Hail, probably at 15%. This is on the northern end of the enhanced risk, by the way. And the tornado threat, 10% hatched. On the southern end of the enhanced risk, 10% hatched with the tornado threat. Hail, 30% hatched. And the wind, probably 15%, or maybe even a 30% chance for high wind. Slight risk, again, risk is a little bit lower on the northern end, 15% for wind, 5% for tornadoes, and probably a 5% for the hail. Actually, I may upgrade that 15% because of those mid-level lap rates. And basically the same situation on the southern end. And margin risk, 2% on the tornado, 5% on the wind and hail, basically. So that's your percentages there for kind of each particular region of these risk zones there as well. So that's basically my forecast here. Do not be surprised if I upgrade to a high risk, which the risk going to be leading to is the tornado threat, of course, which will be a 30% hatched area. We're just going to have to see how models go later tonight. But either way, with the risk categories here, just be prepared for areas pretty much in the enhanced and moderate risk area. Pay attention to forecasts very closely here. Follow your local National Service offices for better information. Also have a plan. If you get under a tornado warning, be sure to have a severe weather plan when you get under a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning. Be sure to have that as well because this could be a pretty big day tomorrow. So just be prepared for that. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to do a live stream or not. We'll just got to see about that, see how timing goes, and also how the weather around my area. Because my area could be experiencing some rough weather tomorrow. So we're going to see how things go. There may be a live stream or not. We're just going to have to see about that. But I don't know if there's going to be a video tomorrow either, or even live stream. If there's going to be a video tomorrow, it's just going to be a live stream. Just keep in mind of that. But almost I forgot to show you guys here. We'll take like to day 3 real quick. With the SPC outlook, you got scattered marginal risk. Got one across the Carolinas, southeastern Virginia, back across south central Georgia, southeastern Alabama. Got another marginal risk for northwestern Alabama, northern Mississippi, southeastern Arkansas, and southwestern Tennessee, and another marginal risk for northeastern Kansas as well, which I believe all hazards are possible in any of those regions in the marginal risks as well. But anyways, guys, that's all for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Guys, like this video. Hit the like button if you really do like my channel. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, put in the comment section down below. I'll answer you guys' questions. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.